Feels good to be back on a Monday morning, brand new month again and brand new week. Most importantly, how excited we are. Having had a very restful weekend, we could say that you're welcome to the start of a brand new show with the same crew, and you know what you're to expect. I'm Joe Hansen, welcoming you to Breakfast Central.
And I'm Benga Borough, but I'll leave the honors to our dear lady here.
I wonder how you both survived.
Oh, well, yeah,
you didn't see me on Friday.
We didn't notice.
We didn't even notice. It was such a great show. We have to keep the standards. We can't allow your absence to make the standards drop.
Yeah.
So when you went, we were doing.
But we missed you, to be honest.
No.
You know, sometimes we try as much as possible to show that masculinity.
There are some jokes and some banter that.
How did even our viewers cope turning on TV and seeing testosterone up and down?
The only thing is they loved the thing about News Central anchors is that we're just fine like that.
It's true. They love it.
Take a look at us for once now. Come on,
you will love it.
Come on, you love it. You want to start your day looking at beautiful. Come on, man.
Yeah,
come on.
Handsome faces, beautiful.
Well dressed. Come on.
Yeah.
Because you were my
Let's cover.
It was an eventful weekend.
It was
so many sad events.
So many sad
some
events.
Positives, but I mean the flooding, the accident, Kano, terrible. Yeah.
But it's good to be here this morning. I want to say thank you for joining us and starting your new month with us. Today is the 2nd of June.
Yep.
June marks the 6th month of the year. Just yesterday we said Happy New Year, and all of a sudden we're in June. We hope that you've been able to review your goals for 2025 and the things you're set to achieve, you're not yet achieved, or you haven't yet achieved, that you can start to maybe rework your plan. And if all you could save so far this year is your life, I think you've done well. It's not been the easiest of years. So well done to you. We hope that June brings all the pleasant surprises for you. Today on the show, a number of conversations to explore, but just to encourage you to engage with us on social media at News Central TV or Joe Hansen, Benga Borough, or Oliver Modi on X. We'll be glad to take your tweets in response to any of the stories we'll be looking at today.
That's right. But talking about the things to look out for, Benga had mentioned the sad story or events that took place throughout the weekend, and there was also the commissioning of the 30-kilometer road by Mr. President. That also generated a lot of conversations, most importantly reactions from Nigerians. But one that has got everybody talking, let's put it that way, is the fact that the federal government has plans to deploy AI to identify poor Nigerians.
Okay. I saw that story and I had to go and look at the source to think, I was doubting its authenticity and I thought maybe it was a clickbait. But lo and behold, one day if I have twins, I would name them Lo and Behold. But we'll get to that on another day.
Please leave me alone. It's too early. What is that?
Lo and Behold.
Look, come here, behold.
Yes. The president spoke and talked about a whole lot, especially ensuring that the president has said during his administration that he's going to take away Nigerians from poverty through the programs that he's put in place. But this one is a fresh new program. Artificial intelligence. The goal is that AI would be used to verify, identify, and ensure that all poor people in a district, location, area will be identified from the artificial intelligence, from the space, zooming in, checking in, using their phone number.
There isn't satellite.
You know what got me shook? Yeah. Let me use the foreign word, shook. Permit us. We have to, speak the lingua of both the Gen Zs and everybody.
I have to carry everybody along.
And I said, this is not giving, because they said they're going to use phone numbers to see people how they recharge, to know how they identify the poor. I said, what is going on?
Why? That may not be such a bad idea. On a normal day, I think that the world is evolving, and so we must as well. We must be able to use artificial intelligence for our benefit. We should be able to use it to do positive things, right? To make get data, use it to gather data. However,
make your work more efficient.
Exactly, make your work efficient. When people say, "Oh, AI is going to take over our jobs,"
no.
Experts would say humans who use AI will take over the jobs of humans who don't. So it's great that as the world is
a rival TV station launched AI presenters in Pigeon, so be careful.
Anyway,
even that one that is drinking coffee on set.
I could be AI, yo. You see the way I'm moving.
Careful.
You see the way I could be AI, yo. You see me
no, I think that it's important that we start to think of ways in which we can use artificial intelligence for our benefit. Right? The world is evolving. We need to be able to keep up with global best practices. However, we're not oblivious of the fact that there are lots of challenges that this poses for us. Let's talk about the financially excluded communities. There are those who don't have access to bank accounts, internet, the poorest of the poor. They are financially excluded, they are digitally excluded. How do we capture their data? Also, data storage or data, we've had a challenge with data collation in Nigeria, where, for example, you're having multiplicity of registrations. Today they are telling you, come and do BVN, tomorrow NIN. The day after.
Sensors,
so it just feels like every other day there is one information or the other. How are these data being used? How are they being protected? How are they being stored? And also the challenge with artificial intelligence, depending on how the AI has been trained with information it's been fed. There's also the risk of certain biases.
Look,
so I don't know if we're completely there yet.
The use of AI, I don't understand the part of using AI to identify the poor. You already have a Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. They have a social. They have a register
that wants to use the AI.
So they have a register of people that are poor. They need to upgrade their register. They need to also update it to know those who have passed, who are still in the register, and things like that. AI should be deployed to cover areas to make their work more efficient. Not to identify. What do you mean by you're using AI to identify?
And what is the guarantee about the transparency regarding the National Social Register?
So let's deal with the human part first and be more efficient in distribution and getting to those who are in real need of these facilities before you start. I can understand. It's the buzzword. It's high sounding.
I think we have to bring the Honourable Minister here. We have to bring the Honourable. So what we'll do is we'll reach out to the Honourable Minister, Professor Nentawe. I always ensure that I get the pronunciation of his name right. Yes, Honourable Minister Nentawe Yilwatda. He's been here before with us on Breakfast Central, and we've spoken before. So we'll try and ensure that we get him back again. But then again, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at other interesting wake-up stories for you here on Breakfast Central. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central here on News Central Television, and it's still the wake-up conversation segment. We just talked about the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs saying they want to use AI to identify the multidimensionally poor people in the country, and this has garnered a lot of reactions and also controversy. But
if we're being honest about it, we don't need to. With or without AI, we can already see the multidimensionally poor. They are all around you. You don't need to look too far to see the multidimensionally poor. Those who are, food poor and multidimensional, they're everywhere.
And they have a register.
But also, I think before we even get into trying to use AI to ensure that we find out who the multidimensionally poor are, so as to be able to maybe include them in the cash register, social register. We need to look at what we've done so far. How successful has it been?
True.
How many Nigerians would say they've gotten that 75,000 naira? And yes, I know the minister did say that in the urban areas we look down on 75,000 naira, but in the rural areas it's a big deal. And we completely understand it is a big deal because minimum wage is 70,000 naira. So 75,000 naira is a great idea. But how many Nigerians have gotten it? I don't know anybody. Maybe they will say it's not within my circles. But I don't know people. I can't say I've seen people who have gotten it. Maybe the people who have gotten it are not on social media, because that also shows maybe just how excluded.
There's also another question about party loyalty, and I hope this conditional cash transfers are not given based on party affiliation, because what you normally get is in local governments, they organize along party lines and this and that. I hope it's evenly distributed to every Nigerian regardless of party affiliations.
I mean,
hopefully they get it.
I agree with you, but I also have a cause for worry, and it is because it is the same ministry that has always been in the news for the wrong reasons that is also coming back with this story again. Remember the instance of Beta Edu? We haven't cleared that issue yet. There has been no statement from the presidency on, or the federal government on the current situation after her name and other names were mentioned, the past, on how XYZ amount was spent and how it cannot be accounted
And this
for.
is what leads to a culture of impunity. There's no consequences for actions.
Thank you.
And they investigate forever and ever.
again.
And then we move on to the next big issue.
And the thing is, in their investigation, nobody is saying, if you're saying that Beta Edu had to be fired from her position because there was some actions that were not maybe moral, if there was any form of illegality, Nigerians deserve to know. In fact, the government should come out and say, okay, we've done, or the law enforcement agents, we've done our investigation, we found that she did not commit a crime, but there should be an explanation of some sort. We found that she did not commit a crime, therefore we will not be pressing charges. However, what she did was morally or ethically wrong, which is why we have suspended her. Right? But there should be an explanation of some sort. Not just allow it in the typical Nigerian way. They make a lot of noise about it after when everybody will forget. And we move on to the next thing. When the government brings up ideas that on the face of it are good, this is why Nigerians kick back. Because of these little things that sows the seed of distrust and further widens the trust deficit that we have in our nation. So when we run a nation, a government that acts like it is not accountable to the people, that is what further widens the trust deficit. That is why even when the government brings up ideas that on the face of it are great ideas, people will always look at it and be like, are you sure they're not doing this? Are you sure it's not for...
Yeah, there's
always that
doubt.
distrust. It would always be there until we can start to clean house.
So 2 questions we'll leave our viewers with this morning. 1, where is Beta Edu? That's a question. No, that's a question, because if she is free, then it should also be communicated to Nigerians, because it's not
she was investigated and she wasn't found guilty of any wrongdoing. Either way,
if you've not found out one thing, then let her and tell Nigerians so that she can either come back to politics or come back to running a different ministry.
Or even if she's not coming back, just to let us know that we've done the investigation, we've not found any prima facie case against her, so we will not be pressing charges.
It's not good on the personality of the individual. So we demand that at least for once, just come out and say, oh, this is what happened, and keeping it hush-hush. 2, I forgot my second question. My first question was where she is, and the second question was basically about...
when you remember.
Anyway, when I remember, I'll remember, and I'll definitely ask Nigerians. But I think the first question is very paramount. It's key. We need to know. So it does good for the person, and it also helps to build trust, because there will be a communique that will be, reeled out that these are the reasons, this is what we found, and this is
you're
the
just keeping Nigerians updated. Yeah. You're doing your job.
And ensuring that you're accountable to Nigeria.
Exactly.
And then that's my second question. My second question is, do you think that politicians are accountable to Nigerians?
Politicians ought to be accountable to Nigerians. In fact, politicians are bound to be accountable to Nigerians, unfortunately. What is not what it ought to be. So right now, a lot of it, again, like we say, the office of the citizen is the highest office of the land. Citizens must start to demand for more from their politicians when they go to the polls. The quality of people that
an informed citizenry, educated citizenry, and that's what we do here on traditional media, to educate and enlighten the people on their rights and knowing what to do to strengthen our democracy.
By the way, let's also remind Nigerians that the tint permit has started though. So if you are driving and you don't have your...
Why you reminded the police?
No, we have to remind them, because the police are ready. They are ready. From this morning,
food is ready.
From this morning, they are not.
Food has been served.
They said, okay, now let's go. Who is that doesn't have his permits? Let's talk to you. So if this morning, be careful. All right.
Okay, let's move to our next. Point. Over the course of the weekend, the former governor of Rivers State, Governor His Excellency Rotimi Amechi, turned 60, and in celebration of his 60th birthday, a number of politicians were gathered in the same place, and they're speaking about weaponizing poverty against Nigerians. They were of the position that the current administration has weaponized poverty against Nigerians, criticizing the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu registration. They talked about the potential of a coalition to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu come 2027, with Rotimi Amechi being hailed as a fulcrum or a balancing force for that coalition to happen. A number of people did speak about this. His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar spoke about it. Nasir El-Rufai spoke about this as well. And the criticisms were really strong. It would seem that they are all, well on the way towards building this coalition to unseat the president. But we of course have seen the way that Nigerians have addressed this. There are those who believe that this is a great idea because Rotimi Amechi would be that opposition force against whatever it is Wike has planned for 2027. Because whether you like it or not, Wike is a force that you can't toss around, as he has shown himself to be an MVP when it comes to the game of politics, looking at the PDP and the APC and the strong force and influence that he wields in both political parties. And so they say that Rotimi Amechi will be that strong force to counter him. However, there are those who say that these people, these politicians are there for their own personal interests because they are asking, what difference have we seen in the country from when you were in power? Now you're saying that the politicians are weaponizing poverty. Take, for example, those who have had 24 years at the corridors of power, who have served as minister, Speaker of the House,
how many people did you bring out
governor,
poverty?
gone to the National Assembly. Rotimi Amechi had a lot of time in the corridors of power, and some of the reactions we've seen are people asking, when you were in office, what was different? How would you say that the quality of life of Nigerians was better? So those are the both sides that we've seen when it comes to the argument for and against. However, there's another camp that is starting to tout, or rather push for an Atiku Amechi coalition, an Atiku Amechi-led coalition. They believe that Atiku and Amechi together will be a very strong and viable force against.
At the end of the day, Nigerians will decide. And I like that Nigerians are now more politically. But let's listen to former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
I want to amend a little bit of amendment and state weaponization of poverty. Why I say so? When I was growing up in the North, the most prosperous city or state was Kano State. The most prosperous. And incidentally, as soon as I finished my secondary school, my first location was Kano State. I never saw people stealing outside. Then there were no footages of riots. I never saw people sleeping outside or outside the shops in Kano State. Recently, people were all over state.
One of the easiest things to do is to be a critic. It's easy. I mean, this, with due respect to the politicians that were speaking on that podium, this administration has just been in office for 2 years. Rotimi Amechi was part of a former administration. Absolutely. He was transport minister for the whole entire duration of 8 years. And then you are speaking, of course, some of the issues they highlight is the reality. There's poverty, politicians have weaponized poverty, but you're part of the problem. You were all part and parcel of the problem. You held elective office. How much did you change in the lot of Nigerians? How many people did you bring out of poverty? What programs could you point to? Were you not part of a system that weaponized, using young people for your electoral issues and things like that? So why do you speak like you are innocent or you are from a different planet and then you are pointing fingers?
Criticize him and his administration as you may. The reason we're here is because of policies that were made over the course of the past few years. I know people hate when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says he inherited a failing economy. But it's not a lie. If you look at the years and the people who were in office before, the policies they made, what was President Buhari's administration like? Was it a great administration? Yes, things looked good on the surface of it, but because of a number of the poor policies, or policies that could not have been implemented, it has led us to where we are, right? Yes, part of why I would think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is getting a lot of backlash would be, apart from the fact that there's poverty, if you're saying to citizens that they need to cut down and manage it for a while, they need to see that everybody, including those at the helm of office, the legislature, the executive and the judiciary, I think that's the major thing. While citizens are cutting down, the government doesn't seem to be cutting down. They're still living large, right? So at the end of the day, all of them, they all have a role to play in where Nigeria is. The ones in the years before, the policies they made, they also have questions. If we get to the point where past presidents are made to be able to come and after their time in office, immunization no longer covers them, they're made to be able to face the law. Immunity, thank you very much. Immunity no longer covers them. They're made to face, just like we saw in South Africa where Jacob Zuma, had a case to answer. If we start to see situations
even
like
in
this,
France,
where
in France
as well.
Presidents know that while you are in office, do whatever you like, immunity covers you, but the moment you step out, you know the way they say freedom of speech is guaranteed, freedom of speech, however.
Same with China.
So you know that once you come out, you have questions to answer, you have to be accountable to the people, and the full course of the law can, the law that can run its full course against you. I feel like we'll be able to see a better handling of government.
It surprises me how most times Olive, you just hit the nail on the head. Perfect. Because if you speak to Nigerians, they will tell you that this is the crux of the major issue that they have with any administration. When the former president came into power, his past antecedents was highlighted that this is someone during 1984
he will fight corruption,
who was known to come in, he would fight corruption, but it was also highlighted that he would come with certain policies that could bring about pain to Nigeria and Nigerians. And everybody said, okay, fine, but then again, part of his campaign policies was that corruption will be gone. Corruption will be gone.
How well did the corruption gone?
But Nigerians kept waiting. After 4 years, this corruption is still wearing its ugly head. In short, the last 4 years, it was as if it never existed, and that's given birth to what we see with the embattled former CBN governor having over 756 under his watch and so on. And then there were many duplicities of corrupt practices.
Look this budget padding that we're talking about, seeing how many millions.
Exactly.
Remember, did it start in President Bola Tinubu's administration? So, were they not all part of the administration that allowed for budget padding? They're all acting like everything just completely.
The highlight
they don't have a role.
The highlight of this is the Nigerian people, the ordinary Nigerian, is getting more politically educated, maybe through the advent of social media, because they see through this. And like you rightly said, that some of the comments said, look, well, you people not part of this government, so what are you saying? We're not back to 2015, where is no Goodluck Jonathan, but not anybody but Goodluck Jonathan. Nigerians will be more circumspect in even scrutinizing opposition. They're not happy with the present administration. Some of them aren't. And those who aren't would not just say, okay, anybody but APC. They have to look at the motivation for the opposition, their antecedents, their track records before, you can't you are not just going to win my vote because I'm not satisfied with the current government. So it helps our democracy and enlightens people about the political process. So it's a good way to go. I think what we should be fighting for is that we have wider options to choose from, but quality, because I think you're just picking politicians from everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, so until you have a critical mass of them that are quality and mean well for Nigerians,
are you sure
I'm hoping that more Nigerians, especially more, maybe the younger generation, I'm hoping that we get to see more people interested, because everybody's like, I'm not interested in politics.
When you say younger generation, I begin to look, a country is built from the youth, the strength of the youth and the wisdom of the adults. Yeah. You've seen some of the young representatives we've had. You've seen Better Edu and.
But why I don't want us to write off the younger generation is because Better Edu is just a fraction. She does not represent the majority, because the people who have pillaged our commonwealth or pilfered our commonwealth are still the older generation, the ones that have refused to allow the leaders of tomorrow.
Young people carry their Gen Z behavior to governance.
I think it's that Gen Z audacity that
I think that's a topic we should highlight maybe this Friday. Let's have a few younger, politicians.
Look, let's talk about competence.
Let's balance it.
competence across board, regardless of age.
Let's see
it's competence.
The summary for me would be we need more people interested in politics. It's not enough to say, I don't care about politics. Politics is dirty. If you keep thinking and viewing it from the lens of politics is dirty, I'm not interested, we'll keep recycling the same people, and then we have no reason to complain.
Well, from my own point, I always say, as a journalist, our job is to ensure that while we, maintain our neutrality, we should also be able to tell which is right and which is left, which is very key, and that's exactly what we do here every now and then. But
do we have time for PSG story?
Just to wrap things up this morning, PSG, they won the UEFA Champions League, and kudos
for the first
time in their history. But what happened after the winning is what hurts me the most.
Celebrations gone haywire.
Have you seen what is happening in France?
17-year-old boy killed, 23-year-old man killed, the number of police officers injured,
over 500 and something arrested.
I think they just love rioting and protesting in Paris.
It started off like what you see on the screen here. All beautiful. So my question is, why the riot? Why the stealing? Why theft? Why the violence? Is it because they won? That's why? Or there's an undertone behind it? Or is it a case of maybe a certain few dressed as PSG supporters decided to say, should they win, we're going to retaliate and tear down everywhere, both the blocks, the streets, and so on. But it was a fantastic win for PSG. Our own simply is, there's a rule in football and it says football without violence. That's what the law, that's what the basic global.
That's why it's called a beautiful game.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game. The round of the game is beautiful. And now they won, but we're talking about the violence that erupted after that, how it's killed.
Over celebration.
I'm seeing here that there was a report that all those hurt were from the same family, the police said. I don't know if they're talking about same family of club supporters or same family of biological connection, but we're seeing that 22 police officers, 7 firefighters were injured, while 264 vehicles were set on fire. Why?
Why? Because they won the championship.
Why?
They should have just allowed Arsenal to win it.
No, Arsenal didn't even get to the finals.
Maybe they would have.
They should
have allowed Arsenal to beat them.
Yes.
So but after all of this virus, they still went ahead with the celebration parade on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I'm very disappointed in Inter Milan. This is the best of European football. You get to the finals and you allow them to trash you 5-0 when it's not Principal's Cup.
It was as if it was just round one. It was as if it was group stage. Inter Milan 5-1. But with what we heard, the coach had studied Inter Milan and found out that Inter Milan likes to play from the goalkeeper, from the back, where he's very important in terms of ball distribution, and then you have the defenders. I don't want to go into analysis, but
we'll wait for game on.
Game on will have all of that. But
But I love that you're showing your talent. You're multidimensional.
Yeah, I started off as a sports journalist.
Fantastic.
But then again, this is sad.
This rubbish in Nigeria.
This is what you call celebration. Jubilation.
No, not this one.
Celebration is out of hand.
This is violation.
264 vehicles on fire.
It's painful.
Good thing they have insurance. You can't live in Paris.
You begin to understand.
The riots happen.
What if you are a tourist? Imagine me now thinking I need a break from all this political stuff. And I went to Paris.
If I'm not mistaken, the Roland Garros French Open is currently on. And they'll be looking at football fans like, oh, you hooligans. You never hear this sort of
These are
behavior
not true
in tennis.
fans.
That's why I love tennis and golf and darts, gentle and snooker.
Snooker is not part of them. Tennis, golf,
snooker is
in a class of their own.
So you play golf, Binga?
I would love to watch
you
golf.
To play golf.
Okay,
I've not gotten to that level yet. Do you know how much golf?
So you can go there. A lot of they learn how to play golf here. Some people, let's be honest. There are some who that play golf. It's not really because of the game. It's just because of networking. Because they say that's where you need.
Oh yeah, I remember when I used to play golf way back, but I can't wait to tee off again.
You used to play golf?
Yeah. I started, but I'm going back to basketball from this weekend. I need to go back to
New Central's LeBron James. Know what I'm saying?